Hey everyone, and welcome back to Collaboration Day. I am a day late for this one. I've been fighting a cold, but I'm feeling a lot better now. So I am going to be cleaning up page 4 and have you guys join me with this one. I think for this one, I'm going to try it a little bit different and start with all these wider full ink spots and do the entire page that way. I'm just playing around with them right now and trying to figure out a more efficient way of going about polishing and cleaning up pages to save a bit more time. Art is time consuming no matter what, but sometimes you can come up with a flow that's more efficient for yourself and helps that cut that time down like a teeny bit for yourself and just make the process a little bit more, I don't know, I find for myself anyways, a little bit more just kind of the ability to do it, I guess the flow, the vibe, I don't know how you would describe that. It's just you feel it. You feel when like you're kind of hitting walls when you're drawing. I don't know, maybe it's just me, like I said. And then you have moments where you feel like you're just really like dancing across that page, just going super smooth with everything. And that's kind of the flow I want to find out with this program, because I've been loving the quality of the stuff that comes out on it. I've also been doing some studies, environment studies and stuff, for this program too, that I've been really enjoying, where I'm learning more of the rasta or pixels, depending where you are, to that format of layering. Whoops. Okay. So I'm playing around with that stuff too. I am going to be posting those kind of extra art pictures to the Patreon. I know I've written about the Patreon many times, but here's me vocally saying it now. You should be able to scroll to the bottom of the page if you already have your own Patreon account, kind of like Facebook setup, and you should just be able to hit follow. All of my posts are public, so that means you do not have to pay any money. You just get to see them. I am gonna have paid stuff, but that is way down the road, and I kinda think I will talk about that maybe in its own video, since it doesn't really have to do so much with this collaboration day. Well, it kinda does too. Well, this part does. I'm gonna be starting a comic challenge, which is exactly what Collaboration Day is for. And that's where at the beginning of each month, within the first week, I will put a post up in the Patreon. I'm not sure, and I guess that's what we're gonna find out together, is if you guys are able to post your own submissions, or if you're gonna have to send them to me somewhere else. But there will be a guideline of what you're allowed to submit, and I will help you polish 4 to 8 pages, depending who the winner is. There's gonna be a winner each month. So I will open up the comic book challenge. And with the comic book challenge and Collaboration Day, since they're the same thing together, if you don't have like a comic book mini series that's 4 to 8 pages, but even if you're like pressed for something else, like you just need a couple pages done, or splash pages or example reference pages to give to a different artist to kind of give them the idea, like especially if you're more of a writer, you're definitely allowed to submit that as well. And do not fear doing stickmen. I've worked with a few people who are like, I can't draw, I can do like stickmen. Do stickmen if you want to do stickmen. I do prefer for the artists to have a little bit more of a fleshed out thumbnail and pencils, especially because you are the artist and artists have their own voice in their art. So I want it to represent your voice, not my voice. When it comes to writers, I understand that a lot of them feel they cannot draw. So it's a little bit different for what I may recommend for writers. And then what happens is if once you win, you'll be featured kind of like how Little Penny and Too Many Johnnies is being featured, where I'll just show the process of things being made. I also contact you guys behind scenes with other things and polishing and all the rest of the stuff that doesn't get shown in videos. So that's a little bit about the collaboration comic book challenge date. And where I plan on going with the videos for Little Penny, because it is a bigger project, I am thinking that I am going to start doing, I don't know, I guess that'll depend on Jonathan as well as you guys, if you are preferring seeing single pages in each video, or my idea was to do like 3 pages per video, but showcasing different things. So like with Little Penny, I'm doing 2 copies. I'm doing this inking copy, and then I'm doing a flats copy. So I could show maybe the setup of the cleanup for one of the pages, show this inking process for another part of the video, and then show flats for another part of the video, and incorporate all 3 pages. Like just kind of show a section of each one of those pages being done, or I can just continue doing page by page videos. I think I'm gonna go with the 3 one, just to help get this out there sooner than later, since I was a bit behind on it due to life circumstances, and appreciate Jonathan's patience on that. So I'm going to think about it, but I think that this circle is not working. There we go. Just had to pinch it around and stuff. I think that I am gonna go with the 3 pages, but I will see. I think for next week, yeah. So next, or I guess, what are we, Sunday? I guess next Saturday. I'll try the 3 in 1, see how that goes, see how that feels, and then maybe go from there. And then that also gives an example to you guys to what the singular pages, as you've been seeing, look like, and what the 3 pages in a video may look like. And then maybe go from there. Yeah. I've been talking quite a bit for the start of this, so I'm just going to do a little bit of a time lapse, and then talk a little bit about the vibe and flow feeling of trying this new way. Okay, so far I'm really liking the flow of this, but then I kind of remembered that I need to do these whites. So they might be like kind of a next stage. So far I'm liking how I did all the thicker flat inks, and I think I'm just going to do that as the flat ink stage and then go into doing the actual outlining, lining stuff, and then go into like adding these white lines in like the hair and stuff afterwards. But so far, because like I tried doing it right here with Penny on the other panel there, and I feel like that kind of is breaking the flow. So I think I'm just going to continue doing all of the line work, and then I'm going to do all the whites, the white line work afterwards. Kind of like you would do, at least I did traditionally with whiteout years ago, when you do like the whiteout highlights and stuff at the very end. So I think I'm going to kind of treat it that way and go from there. So far I'm really liking it. It's definitely making it a lot quicker feeling, and I do have a timer going to see if it's a faster process as well, and so far, yeah, I'm already down the time. I don't know math, but I think a third faster. I don't know. I could say a quarter faster if I was to break it down into like 425s. It so far looks like, according to the timer, that it would be like 1/4 faster, but I will check after the fact once I've done some more. Okay, so for the magic, I kind of want some of it to go over top and some of it not to go over top, so I'm going to be playing around with the line work here. I know I want like the wand magic to be the most dominant, so this one I'm gonna put above everything else. Just kind of, it's there, that's it, because it's the main magic. The effects magic, I kind of want some of it going over Lucy and some of it not going over her. But I'll have to play around with that and see. With the line work, it'll just be me having to come in here and clean out some of the lines. Like off of her elbow, for example, that I have covering over her elbow there. If I decide to make it more behind, kind of like how I'm making this one more behind. If it just comes down to the coloring, like the flats, then I'll just have to play with where they're placed. Because it's digital, so I can put it on a different layer and then just play around with the placement after the fact. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna keep it kind of simple like this to begin with, and then I'll just play around with it more once I get to the flats. Oh, looks like I forgot to do the lining on Lucy in here, so I'm just gonna quickly go in and do the line work on her here. Not sure why I missed that, or I don't know, I keep tracking all over this page right now. As long as nothing gets missed, it's good to go. Doesn't matter the order. Now I'm just going to do a quick reference check, and that's just where I turn off the reference layer underneath from my first version of it to see if I've missed any of the line work that I am keeping. Doing that, like toggling it off and on, just helps show me if I missed something, because sometimes my eyes just see it all as one. Even though it's really opaque, my eyes see it as one. So I just do a quick check like that. In these next two panels, I'm just going to try to convey the same way that I have done the magic in the first panel. I'm not sure, like, in my original quick sketch of this one, I actually didn't outline the magic, but the realization that I needed a copy with no color, that's why I'm kind of outlining it. And I'm actually kind of liking the look of it outlined, but like I said, I'm just playing around with it because I need to figure out how to get the storytelling of those magic lines in there without them being too busy, so that it can stay within the style of the rest of the comic book. I realized I haven't even said too much about this comic book as well. It was originally, I believe, a 4 or 8 page comic that Doyle and Penny had written, if I remember correct. And then Jonathan decided to work on it as well and turned it, kind of stretched it out and turned it into a 33 page comic. And then I had reached out to Jonathan for something else, I think, or he reached out to me, I don't remember 100%. And then he was like, hey, would you want to help work on this one? And I was just like, sure. I think it was me who reached out. But I was doing something else for him at the same time. That's why I feel like I may be confused on that. But I told him that I'd be able to do one of these for him. And I wasn't actually expecting a 33-page one. I was expecting a 4 to 8 one. So I wasn't actually even sure if I was going to take this one, because I was like, that's kind of a lot more pages than I initially asked for. But I kind of fell to liking the story and kind of where the story went and stuff, and just enjoyed it. I think it was kind of nostalgic for me. In some of the later pages you'll see what I mean by that. I'll probably talk about it then when I'm doing those pages for the cleanups. So anyway, so that's kind of where this came from and why it became a way bigger project than was intended to begin with. And I, not sure for the rest of them, but for myself, I've been enjoying this project. It definitely has helped me learn a lot on this program with more of my flow as I'm learning digital art, because I'm originally a traditional artist. So it's been really helping with learning a little bit more of the digital art things and just collaborating and working with other people on things a little bit more. And enjoying the stretch, as well as I am trying to figure out how to maintain more of Jonathan's style in these pages. And I think that's in itself is kind of something I enjoyed growing up, you know, as a kid artist, looking at cartoons on the TV, because that's where most of my learning came from, was motion picture, because I didn't have comic book store or anything like that where I grew up. So I think learning a lot of it just from watching cartoons and my favorite cartoons and stuff, and learning from other artists, little tricks and tips and things that I enjoyed from some of their stuff, and seeing how they draw and getting more into their process of things has always been fascinating to me. To see how other artists work and how kind of their voice and their vibe comes through their style. And I hear a lot of people say they don't have a style, and everybody has a style, period. And our styles can be influenced. Like, if you look at my own original style, not the ones where I'm helping people out, and their voice and their style, which I don't showcase a lot of my own work, which that's another goal that I would like to do, is post a little bit more of my work on my Patreon public. You'll see, like, especially if you're an older artist, you will be able to tell where some of my influences in my style came from. And a lot of my style influences actually came from video games. The Nintendo 64, the Nintendo, which was more pixeled, so of course I kind of outgrew the pixel stuff. But more the 64, especially Zelda. Zelda was like one art style that I fell in love with as a kid, especially the 64 when it first showed it, like really more characteristically, rather than, you know, the old school pixel stuff that we had in Nintendo and Super Nintendo. And then more 90s cartoons, I would say, kind of like Ed, Edd and Eddy. Daria was definitely one. And actually an artist, and I wish I could find it, and it's kind of what inspired my collaboration comic book challenge thing, was an artist that was a part of this little, I don't know, flyer thing that we used to get in my school's village, and they had little competitions where you could do like a little 3-panel comic or something like that. And I never submitted my art. Even as a kid, I was very like, my art's sucky, I don't want to put my art out there. So but that artist, the head artist that they had for that, I wish I knew their name. I was a little kid, so I didn't really take note, but I did learn quite a bit from just looking at their artwork as well, and it was more cartoon style as well. So a lot of my influences came from cartoon, and a lot of my influences came from horror. So my original stuff is kind of like cutesy dark. That's the only way that people have described it, is it's kind of cute, but it's really dark. So everyone has their own style anyways, is what I was getting at. And yes, our styles will be influenced by other artists growing up and stuff. So to me, it's always been fascinating to kind of see how other artists do things, and their flow and their voice and their art, and how they convey things in their visual storytelling. And that's one big thing that kind of drived me for Collaboration Day, is I wanted to be able to emphasize other people's skills and show their work off. But I may have to talk more about that later, because I am running out of time for this one. I'm pretty much done it. I'm gonna do these white lines here, and then I'm gonna be done. I am thinking of doing some lives as well. I'm still debating, because I kind of want my lives to be gaming, because gaming is something that I am passionate about as well, and I do believe that creatives tend to work too hard, and that we need to learn to play a little bit too. So, but I also want to do some of those lives as partials, so I'm thinking, because I want to start doing Wednesdays as writing Wednesdays, thumbnail Thursdays, so I'm thinking maybe I'll start the lives with, maybe we do some writing sprints, some thumbnail sprints, whatever it is to that day, and then after that I'll play some video games, or vice versa, play some video games and then do some sprints. Because I am trying to learn to incorporate play, and I constantly hear from other artists too that they tend to just work from morning to night and not give themselves room to do stuff that they love. And I was like, I agree with that. So that's one of the ways that I want to do it. And I think those lives, though, would be a good place to be talking about all of this stuff too, and just having conversations and more discussion around art and things like that. But that is it for today. Thank you for joining me. And next week I will try the 3-page video and see how that goes. And I will see you guys there. I hope the week treats you well. Cheers.